Hey everyone, I'm Matt O'Donnell. It is Sunday, January 4th, 2015. Happy New Year, everyone. And this is Inside Story, talking cybersecurity with Congressman Pat Meehan from the 7th District of Pennsylvania, primarily in Delaware County. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, great to be here. Happy New Year to you.
Thank you very much, Congressman. You chair the subcommittee on cybersecurity, infrastructure protection, and security technologies, a long name, but basically you deal with this a lot. We heard that Chick-fil-A was telling some of its customers that some of their credit cards may have been compromised. Sony got hit. That was big in the news. And then let me just list some of the companies in the year of 2014 that had some data issues. Target, Neiman Marcus, Michaels, Home Depot, SuperValue, Staples, Dairy Queen, P.F. Chang, UPS. I could go on and on. But why can't we just figure this out and stop this from happening?
Well, this is the beginning of the recognition. This is companies you've identified in which there is an incentive for others to gain economic benefit from stealing identities. And that is something which you have listed, that long litany of companies who've been affected. And more importantly, Americans, millions of Americans whose identity has now been compromised. Of course, that's a separate issue from the more significant issue with Sony. But to the average American whose identity has been compromised, it's very real, and it's part of the future we're going to be facing.
Who's being more careless here? The modern consumer who posts information on Facebook, perhaps, that could lead to identity theft, the government not caring enough about this, or companies being careless about information?
Well, I think everybody cares, but all of the above are partners in this. And there is a reality that we could all be doing a lot more. We talk about cyber hygiene, and almost 80% of the kinds of things which are cluttering up and are stolen on the internet could be impacted by better cyber hygiene. And we have a lot to do about educating ourselves about things that we can do ourselves to protect. Then there needs to be things that could be done in the industry. Slow movement towards the kinds of technologies that they've already adopted in Europe, in which you can have chips and other kinds of things in cards that would be an impediment.
EMVs is what they're called, right?
That is one of the things, the kinds of things that could be done. But you need to appreciate, we call this the third cycle, that very sophisticated operators are going to get around those systems no matter how effective you put those on. And that's the place where, you know, the big challenges, the Sonys and places like that find themselves.
Is there a gap still to be bridged between companies trusting the government and the government being willing to work with companies to try and fix some of these problems and to protect consumers better?
Yeah, we've come a long way. The reality is, in the past, companies wouldn't come forward because they were afraid of being identified. Now they appreciate it and need. The real issue we have is the ability for the government and the private sector to communicate in real time. And there's privacy issues that are there. There's liability questions which impact some of that. And those are some of the things we're working in Washington to create a much better capacity to protect individual privacy, but enable it to be real-time communication. 90% of the entire internet assets are based in the private sector, and yet information is obtained by the government sector, the security agencies and things like that. We've got to be able to talk in real time to protect against these kinds of threats.
I know you receive briefings from time to time. North Korea, this is a regime that cannot feed its own people, and somehow its internet got turned off and it couldn't turn it back on for some time. Do you really think that they're the ones that hacked Sony Pictures?
Yeah, I do. And you ought not be surprised. I mean, they have invested billions of dollars into units that have been trained in learning how to impact the internet. This is another aspect of their nuclear ambitions. It's the ability to use limited resources, but to affect global policy. They're like a petulant child that's crying for attention, even though they're running a regime which is, you know, so abhorrent. But their capacity ought not be underestimated. However, many people do believe that what they took was a significant step with the breach of Sony. And this is the first time that you've seen people use information not just to get economic benefit, but now using it to try to, in effect, not just embarrass, but kind of, make Sony react to them in ways that are different than we've ever seen before.
You are going